All right, let's go over some TFATK episodes. I've been slacking a little bit because it snowed here and it never snows here. So I've been out having some fun instead of making videos. So I'll probably talk about 433, 34, and 35. Just because there's been 433, that was Crystalia came on, and then 34, 35, that was the most recent two. But the one with Crystalia, I mean, it was good. Obviously, Crystalia coming on was hilarious. They talked about his rap videos. If you guys haven't seen the episode yet or watched the Congrats Pod, I think he talked about it on Congrats Pod, or it might have been because Crystalia was also on H3 podcast. So I can't remember which one he talked about on another podcast as well. But he made these rap videos like years ago. And under like a fake rap name called Chank Smith. And he invented a whole persona behind the whole thing and everything. And had it like official, like produced by a real like music producer, like big name people, whatever. And like he had a video, he made a music video too. It's actually really well made. Oh, it's so funny. And like nobody has seen it before when I watched it. Because I seen it on, I think it was on his podcast before I seen it on Fighter and the Kid. And I went on some of the videos and it was just like, there was like, I don't know, 30,000 views or some shit on the videos at the time. So like nobody's really seen it. I mean, because it's under it's under the Chank Smith like YouTube channel and everything. So nobody has seen this. So, all right. Crystalia was on. It was hilarious. But dude, they get into these current events that are so bad. I know I've talked about it before, and I'm just probably gonna keep talking about it because they suck, man. Dude, it's always just like, I don't know, pop culture shit. It's like, oh, what happened with this music artist? You know, like, oh no, this actor said this thing on Twitter, and now people are like mad. It's just like every time, it's so bad. It's either a celebrity or it's like some shit about like race to get Bryan all worked up about like social justice warriors and shit. It's like those are the only two things that they ever cover. It's like one of them is to get Brendan riled up, and the other one is to get Bryan all riled up. Which I guess is kind of funny, but at this point, I don't know, Bryan's just been in like a shitty mood about like when it comes to like the current event stuff. Like he's just like, fuck them. Fuck that. Get over it. Fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like he's had attitude lately. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Brendan, never mind. Brendan was telling a story with 433 when Crystalia was there, and it was about his brother getting into a fight in a parking lot over a blinker. Like, here, watch this.
Guess who almost got in a street fight last night?
You?
No, never.
Oh,
Come
my
on.
God. Yeah, I like the way you laugh
Jay
at that.
Schaub.
Jay Schaub? What?
Yeah, in the parking lot at the gym.
What happened?
Talking on the phone, he just flips out because some guy didn't turn on his blinker. I'm telling you, the kid's a hot fucking...
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't ever fuck with people like that. That's crazy. A street fight?
That's a bad day.
Dude, how do you get into an actual fight with somebody over a blinker? Or even get mad about that? What? Dude, like, people... Every time they talk about a story about his brother, he always sounds like a piece of shit. Obviously, I don't know who this person is. And I just talk out of my ass. But every time people talk about him, every time they talk about him, he always sounds like a piece of shit. And then when you hear people online talk about him, he sounds like an even bigger piece of shit. Like, people give Brendan shit for being a terrible person, but Brendan actually does really nice stuff for people. He's not I don't think he's a bad guy. He's just really dumb. You know? People like shit on Brendan, obviously hard as fuck. A lot of it's deserved. But he's just kind of a dumbass. But his brother sounds like an actual, like, fuckhead. You know? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyways, something a little bit better than that was...
hey, do you guys ever think about bringing back the 10-minute podcast with Sassel? You ever talk about revamping
Thought about it.
We'd do it differently, though, wouldn't we?
What would you do?
Well, we make Bryan fucking take some comedy classes first, so he wouldn't interrupt. He wouldn't be fucking bit killer Jones like he always is, dude.
right, so that was hilarious. Bit Killer Jones. See, that's why we need 10-minute pod to come back, is because Chris and Bryan just have, like, Bryan and Brendan are pretty good together. You know, it gets kind of grating sometimes, but Bryan and Chris, that's like the original like group. Like Brendan's kind of like taken on that I'm gonna be an asshole to Bryan kind of thing. But that was like Chris's thing, except Chris was more funny about it, not like just being mean, because you know he's a friend. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, dude, I would love, like, dude, they gotta be bringing something back, because they brought this up like every week. It gets brought up about 10-minute podcast. I mean, I played that video in my last video about them, where Bryan even mentions that him and Chris are working on something. So it's coming. Something's coming. You know, maybe we'll get the Cult Leader and the Kid podcast featuring Will Sasso. But I don't know. Let's see here. I don't know. That's pretty much it for 433 with Chris. I mean, the whole thing was pretty funny with him, just because Chris is just hilarious, you know. But let's see. So then 434, that was probably like one of the worst podcasts they've done, I think. 435 also rivals that, the newest one, in being really terrible, where half of 434 was just them playing videos. It was just them watching kids sing on a TV show, and then watching Grammy performances. Nobody gives a fuck about any of that, dude. Nobody who watches The Fire and the Kid gives a shit about the Grammys or little kids singing. No one's sitting in their car listening to the podcast like, oh yeah, this is really good. I love hearing Brendan commentate on kids singing. And it went for so fucking long too. Like, Chin spent an hour trying to find this clip. Hey Chin, learn how the fuck the internet works. Even Brendan calls you out on this. I mean, come on, man. God damn. But I don't know. That was just... Oh, and then there was... there was the whole Brendan and Bryan talking about speaking French. Brendan gets called out hard.
French 4 AP here, guy. 4 years of it,
Really?
bro. Yeah.
Tu parles français?
Oui, oui, oui.
Un petit peu couramment.
Oui,
Un petit peu. Oui, oui. Oui, oui. So you learn nothing.
Nothing. I can read a lot of it.
How do you say apple? What's an apple?
Even Bryan
Apple.
started
I can read a little bit of it. I can get away. I can get I could get around France for sure.
Yeah.
I can
Well,
read
it
a lot
sounds
of
like
shit.
you could.
Well, I went to Montreal where it's all French, and I was
Sure.
the narrator.
No, it sounds like you could.
Je n'ai pas.
Est-ce que tu veux du pomme de terre? What's that? What's
Do
that?
I want to go to the pool? No, I don't.
No,
Not in France.
I said no, but very good. Close. Do you want to go to the pool? Est-ce que tu veux un petit peu de pomme de terre?
Do I want to go eat on the tier?
Very, very wrong. Now listen, I said, do you want some potatoes?
Oh,
But
close, dude.
Would you like
Well,
some
that's a weird
potatoes?
thing to say.
It is a weird thing
Yeah.
to say, but it's
kind of
also
funny
figured,
when
you know.
Bryan
Dude.
clowns on Brendan, because he doesn't really get those opportunities that often, I feel like, where he can just really just shit on him for being dumb. But like Brendan saying that he can speak French because he took it in like high school is like the rest of us saying that we can speak Spanish because we took it for a year or two. Like, it's like, yeah, every dumbass had to take it. It was required, like in high school or some shit, to take like a year or 4. Like, that means you're gonna go to fucking France and just exist there and be fine, just fit in with everybody. Like, how are you gonna say speak French? Oh man, but I can't just clown on just. I feel like I always want to cherry pick all of Brendan's like moments because there's so many of them, obviously, but. Bryan's also had some pretty terrible moments this week.
I'm positive you didn't give me one.
Dude.
You made a give to him one. Think about it.
I gave you both.
You're at the same time. You're not wrong on it. It's not a big deal.
It's not a
But
big
I
deal.
want
You forgot
one.
Cat's Play. You forgot
What is
his
that
shit.
one?
It's better than throwing it away
Put
like
it on
you did.
right now. That's
You
so
did this.
fucking rude.
You did this. Thanks, Shin.
I did, and
then
swear I
argue
didn't.
that you've never got it.
I swear to God I didn't.
I said that's mine right there.
I
like I'm leaving it there on a
literally
cold
looking
day.
at it going, I would wear a pink
It's the
sweatshirt.
coldest days ever.
I would have remembered. When did you give it to me?
I don't. It was a
You make
long
this
time
awkward
ago.
than it
long
has to
time
be.
ago. I don't
You make this
remember
more
that.
awkward than it has to be.
You think about it, remember it, because I would have remembered. Otherwise, I'd have it. It'd be in my car or something.
You threw you.
I
You know
bet
what
you
happened,
mine-
Jim? We walked there. He goes, "Who the fuck's?"
I know.
I bet you
Yes.
mine. Watch this. Watch this.
Uh-oh.
I bet you it's right here.
Brendan calling him out on just like, this is, okay, I probably should have set this up before I started playing it. This is Bryan being, acting like confused about why he doesn't have the sweatshirt that Chin gave him like a year ago or some shit. He's like, oh, I just never got one. I would remember. And then he starts looking around in their little ass office after they've already moved. Like they gave it to him after they moved or before they moved into the studio. So it wouldn't be under the fucking couch. They just moved there. Like, what? It's not going to be under the couch. And he gets down on the ground. Here, let me go back and play.
Well, you had one and you threw it away.
You'll find it somewhere.
Don't give him
I
another one,
won't
Jim.
find it because I would have had it.
It's
No,
okay.
you burned it. Remember? You got cold one night.
It's definitely not in here.
Where'd you order them from, Chin? Did you ask Jay?
No.
Hey, Brian, act like you're concerned about his hoodie and look for it for the whole podcast. Make it worse on Chin. Make it more embarrassing for him. Yeah, me too, bro. I'm not. You know what I'm not curious about? If it's in hair.
Yeah, it's probably not in here,
Threw it
Brian.
away.
Okay, that's enough. This bit goes on forever, and because Bryan won't drop it, he just keeps going. Oh, where is it? Where's the sweat? I never got a sweatshirt. And he gets down on his knees and is looking underneath the couch, and Brendan just goes, come on, man, you're making this awkward for Chin. Also, Chin, stand up for yourself. He keeps just cowering like, I don't know. I think I gave you. Come on, man. Be a man. They're not gonna fire you because you call out Bryan on lying about some shit once, you know? Like, just come on, Chin. Stand up for yourself. You're a big man. I don't know. Maybe I'll just make a video of these last 3 podcasts of just all the dumb shit that Bryan and Brendan said, because there's too many clips to show in this. Like, the video will end up being way too long with me trying to talk over all the bullshit that nobody wants to hear anyways. But so 435, that's enough of 434. There was literally nothing to show or talk about because it was all them doing the Grammys and these little fucking annoying ass kids on some TV show singing. Who gives a shit, dude? And then 435, not a lot to talk about. Again, not a very good episode, other than Brendan thinking that Babe Ruth would have pissed hot in 10. The guy was born in the 1800s. Steroids weren't even invented when he died. What are you talking about, man? I don't know. One thing I noticed though is that I was thinking about the Chris D'Elia podcast, is that the only people they get on anymore are like their close group of friends, like the people from the Comedy Store that they hang out with, D'Elia and Santino, Theo Vaughn. It's like their tight little knit group of friends. They used to have guests all the time, it feels like. And I looked, and the last one was November, was Aries Spears. And that was the last guest, like, outside of their little clique that they've had on. So, I don't know, it'd be nice if they would bring somebody on, because obviously just these two sitting around talking is not much of a draw anymore. You know? I mean, come on. If the Grammys, they're taking up like and singing is taking up half of your episode, you're running out of shit to say. Okay? And that's all I got to say, I guess, about this.
Your teeth get
I
worn
think that's
down.
photoshopped.
Nope,
No.
that's a real lady, Chin.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a real lady.
Matter of fact, if you smile real hard, Chin.
Hey, Brendan! But
Chin and her look very similar.
Chin, listen, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be honest. I would never, this son of a bitch, you do look exactly like her. Now, here's the thing, though.
Holy shit.
But you have better teeth.
Holy shit.
If I was missing a couple,
Chin,
Yeah.
you and her look very similar.
Yeah.
But that's
if I was
not-
missing a couple,